Hello, my name is Naya Oster, and I've been looking to apply to this college. For this presentation, I've been asked to compose a slideshow or a presentation about what it means to be educated. And there's many forms in today's world, the definition of educated and understanding the world. And so the first thing I'd like to introduce is a few statistics about education. To start off, I would just like to introduce the idea that being educated in today's world means you must be well-rounded. People must have an understanding of math, an understanding of English, an understanding of science, and an understanding of history. In today's world, it is important and it is professional to use correct grammar, use correct spelling, and things such as that to phrase your sentences correctly. But having a basic understanding of math and science is important when looking at aspects of those political issues involving math and science, and then also looking at history and our relationships with the rest of the world, which will be introduced later. 84% of students graduated from high school between in the graduating class of 2015-2016, and you can see there that there's a little source too at the end of this slideshow for that. But an 84% of students in America graduated from high school shows that in our world today, being educated almost requires an high school degree. And then another 40% of Americans have an associate degree or higher. So though this includes bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, etc., 40% or almost half of America has these degrees, and this number is getting increasingly higher as more and more students are going to college. So in America, to be educated, it is very popular to have go to college, yes. Okay, critical thinking. In addition to just education, it is important for people in today's world to be able to critical think. I know that a lot of things in our world are changing, so not only technology mentioned here, but also our ways of life. And technology really does have to do with our ways of life and the ways that we are changing. We're using smarter recycling processes. We're using smarter buildings, smarter cars, things like that for our environment. And our ways of life have been changed from more electric, more learning online, the internet. It all has to do with education and keeping up with that education. I believe that to be educated, you have to form opinions from topics, and to form these opinions, you do have to have a deep understanding of a topic. To be educated, you must know what different sides are saying, and you must be able to pick a side. You must be able to create an argument too. If you understand a material, you have to be able to show that you understand that material or that concept. And then finally, I have learned new skills, and you can see the fist in the bottom there, and that represents change. I think that being educated in our world today has a lot to do with change and learning new skills. Alright, so I'm not sure if you can see, but there in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a few protesters, and this for me shows the ethical changes in our world and staying educated, aware of these ethical changes. There's a lot of controversial topics in today's political world, such as abortions, such as gay rights, such as gun violence, and these are important to stay educated in today's world. And in American modernness, I would say that you must be able to understand these topics and to form opinions on them. You must be able to understand countries' interactions with others, and a lot of this has to do with the bottom left, the first bullet point of understanding history. To be educated in today's world means that you have to understand the past of America and the past of other nations and their interactions with America. Without understanding these interactions, we do not always understand our status of the status of other countries and our status with other countries. Some countries have a positive viewpoint of us and some have a negative viewpoint. And I think that to be educated, you really have to understand why this is. And we also have to understand other people's situations. Now this is a little bit harder for some uneducated people to understand, but in our world today, there's a lot of places where people don't have the access to food and the access to water. And to be educated, I believe you have to be able to understand that there's places where there's suffrage, and even in America today, there's places where there's suffrage, and you have to be able to emotionally connect to these people. Which is a great and important part of education. And understand that not everyone has access to these, so not everyone has it as good as our first world nation, as you could say. I think being education, also 2 other points that I wanted to bring up, is to understand laws, know what's going around in your world and what you can and cannot do is a great part of your education. And then being educated on historical and modern biases. A lot of times the news and media today, as well as in the past, we saw that a lot with the Vietnam War and with World War II, where there was a lot of bias and a lot of controversial topics being altered in people's minds, such as with the Japanese. And I think that these modern and historical biases are important to understand so you can truly get a clear picture of what the world is like. And again, we see in the bottom right hand corner those people with the fist of change. And then finally, I have technology use. And you can see again, we have the fist of change, because to be educated in today's world means you have to be able to use technology properly. To be able to understand the current technology, change with the current technology, be able to use it, and keep updated with the news. I think this is really important because in our past, we would use newspapers and articles to keep up with current events. But in today's world, it's more important to get news as we find out this news. We can understand the news as it is happening. And so staying in tune with news channels and with news apps and things like that, I think, is very important. But again, this brings in the understanding of political awareness and political bias. All right. Thank you so much. These are my works cited, and thank you.